Hello, my dear students. I am Priyanka Koiri, your science teacher, and today we are going to start a very interesting chapter, that is force and laws of motion. Okay, so at first, let us try to understand what is force. Okay, so this is a picture. In the first picture, you can see there is a person who is walking. Okay, so during walking, also we utilize force. How we are utilizing force? That means we are pushing the ground to move forward. In the second picture, there is a man who is lifting a box. So while lifting also, he is trying to utilize force. How he is doing that? Like he is working against the gravity to lift the box. In the third picture, you can see there are two persons who are trying to push or pull. The person on the left is trying to push, and the person on the right is trying to pull the box. So here also this push and pull is nothing but your force. So we can say that force is push or pull of an object is considered a force. So whenever we try to push or pull an object, we are utilizing force. Okay, that is your force. In physics, force is defined as the push or pull on an object with mass that causes it to change its velocity. So whenever we try to push or pull an object that has mass, and after pushing or pulling, if it changes the velocity of the object, then that is called your force. Okay, force is an external agent capable of changing the state of rest or motion of a particular body. So we can say that force is an external agent which can change the state of a body from rest to motion or from motion to rest. Okay, it has magnitude and direction. So force has both magnitude as well as direction. Okay, so that is why force is a vector quantity. Okay, now the direction towards which the force is applied is known as the direction of the force. Okay, and the application of force is the point where force is applied. So in the direction in which force is applied is called direction of the force, and the point. Okay, so in order to apply force, we either have to touch the object. So the point where we touching is your application of force. Okay, now let us understand what are the effects of force. That means force, what are the things that force can do. The first one is force can move a body at rest. Okay, if there is a body and if we which is at rest, and if we apply force to it, then it starts moving. So the body will not move until and unless a force is applied. So force can move a body at rest. Force can stop a moving body. Okay, force can also stop a body which is moving, can also be stopped by applying force. For example, if a person is cycling, okay, and if he applies brakes, the applying of brakes is nothing but your application of force. So whenever brake is applied, the bicycle stops. So here force can stop a moving body. Next, force can change the speed of a moving body. So how does force change the speed of a moving body? So suppose um, um, if we hit a ball, okay, if a ball which is moving, and if we hit it, okay, then its speed will be increased, right? So force can change the speed of a moving body. Force can change the direction of a moving body. Suppose there is a cricketer, and if a ball is thrown at him, so if we hit it with a bat, then the direction of the ball changes. So we can say force can change the direction of a moving body. Force can change the shape and size of a body. Suppose if there is a rubber ball, okay, and if we apply force to it, okay, then its shape changes. So we can say that force can change the shape and size of a body. Clear? Now the next thing is your balanced and unbalanced force. So what is balanced and unbalanced force? Let us try to understand with the help of this activity. Okay, so there is a table on which a wooden block is there. So here a figure shows a wooden block on a horizontal table. So there is a table, and on that table a wooden block is kept. Next, two strings X and Y are tied to the opposite faces of the block as shown. So there are two strings, that means two threads are attached to the box, and these two strings are X and Y, and they are attached on the opposite side of the wooden block. Now, if we apply force by pulling the string X, the block moves to the right. So there is a wooden block and we are pulling it by we are pulling the string X, so the box will move towards right. Okay, now similarly if we pull the string Y, the block moves towards left. So if we pull the Y string, so it will move towards left, right? Clear? But if the block is pulled from both the sides with equal force, the block will not move. Such forces are called balance force. So in this diagram you can see one person is pulling from left hand side and another person is pulling from right hand side with equal force. So when equal force is applied, the block will not move. So such forces are called balance force. So what is balance force? So okay, so if two forces act on a body in opposite direction, and if both the forces are equal, then the resultant force acting on the body is zero. Such forces are called balance force. So if there are two forces that are acting on a body in opposite direction, and if both the forces are equal, then the object or the body will not move, and such forces are called balance force. So in this picture you can see there is tug of war, and in both the sides you can see there are three persons who is trying to pull that rope. So since there is equal amount of force applied, so the string or the rope will not move. Balance force cannot change the state of rest or motion of a body. So whenever balance force is applied, so it does not change the state of rest or motion of the body. Okay, now let us try to consider another situation in which two opposite forces of different magnitude pull the box. So here we have got a box, okay, which is shown by this question mark, and two different forces are acting. On the right hand side you can see there is a force of 100 Newton, and on the left hand side there is a force of 200 Newton. Okay, in this case the block will begin to move in the direction of greater force. So in both the sides, that is left hand side and right hand side, we can clearly see that on the left hand side the magnitude of force is greater, so the block will move in the left hand side. Thus the two forces are not balanced, and such forces are called unbalanced force. In this case you can see there are two forces which are of different magnitude, so such forces are called unbalanced force. So as you can see in the diagram, the red arrow shows that the direction in which the wooden block will move. Okay, clear? Now what is unbalanced force? So if two forces act on a body in opposite direction, and if one force is greater than the other, the resultant force is not zero. Such forces are called unbalanced force. Okay, so on a body there are two forces acting in opposite direction, and if one force is greater than other, the object will move. So such forces are called unbalanced force. In this diagram also, as you can see, on the left hand side there are three persons who is trying to pull the rope, and on the right hand side there are four persons who are trying to pull the rope. So the forces here are not balanced. As a result, the rope will move towards right. Okay, unbalanced force changes the state of rest or motion of a body. So because of unbalanced force, the object changes its position from rest to motion, or from motion to rest. Now let us try to recall what we have studied. We discussed about force and effects of force, and then we discussed about balanced and unbalanced force. I hope it is clear to you all now. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next class.